So satsang is about that you truly are. So it is about the reality of our experience. It's an inquiry, contemplation of the reality of our experience. What is so beautiful is that the reality of our experience is glorious. The reality of our experience is Sat Chidananda, the bliss of the self. The peace, the transparency, the clarity, the love, the beauty, and the freedom of the self. So this entire inquiry is about what we are. And in a way, it's really odd to be inquiring into what we are, because we are what we are at the deepest level, at the most intimate level, at the most absolute level. We know ourselves, we know what we are. And yet, because we are so fascinated by the senses and by the forms, we separate ourselves, we imagine ourselves to be a beautiful form, or a form that hopefully will be glorious, will grow in wisdom and beauty and intelligence and understanding. But as soon as we do that, we gel the formless self, the formlessness of consciousness, we gel it into a form, into a certain structure that is purely imaginary. And we live our life as that character, full of worries and concerns. Trying and looking for the bliss of the self out there in the world, out there in thought, in concepts, in images, in memories, in hopes. But they're all empty. They're completely empty. They're 100% empty. They're 1,000% empty. Meaning there is no revelation in them. Like there is no revelation in Santa Claus. Santa Claus can never make you happy. Even if you have the best Santa Claus in town, it's still imaginary and it will not make you happy. Because you strive for real happiness, not for imaginary happiness. And then when you ponder about happiness, the question may arise, will I ever be happy tomorrow? What is happiness tomorrow? The mind is spinning, trying to find a way, trying to find a solution, imagining various scenarios, knocking on many doors. And at some point we realize, oh, how disturbing this entire process, how complex and unending. And sometimes out of pure exhaustion, we just let it all go. And in that moment, oddly, we get a glimpse of, it's okay. All is well with the quiet mind, with the mind just being given up. All is well. But then the mind returns. It says, okay, that was great. That was really good. You did really good. You dropped me. That was really great. Let's think about it. Let's formulate a strategy about it. Let's turn it into some formula that you could use. You could use every day. You could use it whenever you need it. And we are back in our contracted state again on the Ferris wheel, the rat's wheel, spinning, looking at thought and wondering if the great thought is going to arise. It's going to be our guide. But thought cannot be our guide, because when we go to it, it's not there. It's like going in the Amazon with a guide that's a ghost. It's there, and a minute later, it's somebody else is there. The first guide says it's this way, and you blink your eyes, and there's another guide now that says that way. What you are looking for is at the source of your looking. You will not find what you're looking for further down along the way. You will find it at the inception, before the form arises, before the gelling before the concept forms. You are. And that I, although you can't experience it as a form, is the eternal self that the mind imagines, conceptualizes as a form, as a me. And in conceptualizing it, it separates itself, reduces itself. And in this reduction, your whole being contracts into a sense of personhood, into the me. You experience a skin to your body, you experience edges to your body, and you experience an inner body and an outer world, while your true nature does not know any such distinctions, is not divided in inner and outer. The inner and outer is like a differentiating between the inhalation and the exhalation, while the breath is one. It's really not divided in inhalation and exhalation. At the mind level, we divide the breath into inhalation and exhalation, but the breath is one. We divide the body into different parts, but the body has no parts. We divide consciousness into multiple bodies and multiple forms, but consciousness has no parts, is not divided into bodies and into forms. So if you go deep within your body, within your belly, and you open your body, you allow it to expand, you allow it to be its natural way, which is borderless, which is complete vibrational space. You allow the breath to breathe through the entire space, the vastness of the space, not the limitation of a body space, but the entire space of being, of awareness. Relax your borders, because they are imaginary. You don't need to experience via the prism of thought, via the filters of the past. Keep your experience crystal fresh, crystalline, diamond-like every moment, where there is no possibility for any past or future to arise. You don't need to carry old problems, past problems, and solve them. They're solved in grace. They don't appear in grace, they dissolve in grace, which is eternal beingness of the self, the reality of consciousness, the reality that you are, the reality of I am, universal presence. So you invite yourself to this revelation, to this understanding, which is very intimate to your very self, because you are the self. You're inviting yourself to your own intimacy, to your own knowingness. You are your own knowingness. You are the one and only knowingness. Presence, awareness, beingness, love and beauty, the freedom and the peace of the self. There is so much joy and beauty and love that is revealed to you as your very self. Be very clear about what you love and about how you live. If you live with the mind, with all the downloads, that is what you love. That is what you are caring for. If you live with worldly concerns, then you remain in that realm, which is the dream realm of separation, the unhappy realm of isolation, regrets and hopes. You must live and dedicate yourself to truth, to awakening, not to problem solving, but to awakening to your true nature. You already are that. You are that. You could spend lifetimes upon lifetimes building careers, families, reputations, taking care of your body, and another body, and another body. You could spend lifetimes doing that without any awakening. You will be living empty. You will be living. I was going to say empty-handed, but sometimes empty-handed is the right way to be. But you'll be living empty of God's grace. The light of being will not be revealed to you in the mind and in the world. So I welcome your questions, anything that you want to look at together. Hello, Holly. You write, so when I experience an emotion or sensation, I can experience it as completely boundaryless instead of conceiving of it as bound by my body. Yes, yes, Holly. The sensation arises in awareness. The mind says, no, no, it's arising in the body. But the body doesn't perceive. If you want, you could say, okay, the sensation is a bodily sensation, but it arises in awareness. We have no problem with labeling the sensation a bodily sensation. Or we could just not label it a sensation. It's important to understand and to see it for yourself in your experience that the sensation arises in the vastness of awareness, in borderless awareness. Yes? And awareness has no boundaries. So the sensation that arises in awareness has no boundaries that limit it. So you could say that because awareness is a reality, and there isn't something outside of awareness, there isn't an external reality, the reality of awareness and the reality of a sensation is only one reality. You could say that awareness being the reality sort of takes on the form of a sensation. One could say that. Like the ocean takes on the form of waves or currents. And in your experience, the sensation arising in awareness and out of awareness, being made out of awareness, being observed by awareness, being perceived by awareness. This awareness is what we refer to as I. So I, awareness, sensation are one. But why call them with three names? Why call them I, awareness, sensation? You could just say reality. You could say self. That's where the term self comes from, referring to that one reality. And yes, in your experience, the sensation arises in the vastness of awareness, and it's awareness that perceives, not the body. The body, meaning the bodily sensation, is perceived by awareness, awareness consciousness. Now, when it comes to an emotion is a sensation plus the I thought. For example, the I thought would be, oh, why is this happening to me? Oh, well, I've been a good person, all this time, and all this misery is happening to me. All these are the I thought. When you bring in the I thought to the sensation, it becomes a feeling and an emotion. A feeling and an emotion is a sensation plus the I thought. Any sensation with the I thought is a feeling, and when the feeling is hot, then it's an emotion. Yes, but rather than conceiving, rather than conceiving that the emotion is not bound by the body, it is better not to conceive it, but to see it. Conception is still mental, but to see clearly that a sensation arises in consciousness, and the body is a perception. You perceive the body. You perceive your body usually as a sensation, as a feeling, a sensation. And also we perceive the body as images and as perceptions. Like, for example, when we look in the mirror or when we look at the hand, we are perceiving the perception that we refer to as the body. So the body is conception, perception, and sensation. Conception, perception, and sensation, which we refer to as mind. So the body is a mind form, and all mind is like the mist. The mist of the clouds. It takes on the form of a car, it takes on the form of an angel, it takes on the form of a dragon, it takes on the form of a sheep. But the substance of the sheep, when you go to the cloud, there is no sheep. When you go to the cloud, there is no dragon, there is no angel, it's empty. So the body is like that. And the reality of this emptiness is consciousness. Because consciousness is the ultimate emptiness, wholeness. Okay, Oli.
Magdi?
Yes, Zoe, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
You said something the other day talking to Ananda that really struck me. It was a question, it was something like a question only arises when you think you know. It was in reference to what is the me impression, and could you speak some more about that? I mean, it's just so backwards from what the world teaches. The conditioning of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, within the question, there is an anticipated, conceptualized answer that we are not aware of. Because let's say that there is something you don't know, that you don't know anything about it, nothing about it. When you don't know anything about it, there isn't even an it. You follow?
Yes, yes.
How could you have a question about an it that's not there? So in fact, when there is a question, there is an it. And then there is around this it the thought that I don't know it. But in fact, you know something about it and you want to know more about it. Otherwise, there won't be an it. But any knowledge that you know about something that is missing some elements to it, that means you are in the conceptual realm. Because knowledge is yes or no. There isn't degrees of knowledge. There are thoughts that measure, that within the thought there are degrees. But the thought that says there are degrees of knowledge, that thought is completely ignorant. All thoughts are ignorant. There is no knowledge in thought. The knowledge belongs to whatever perceives the thought. So the thought that says, "Oh, you don't know enough about this," it's a charlatan. So we live our life being led by the nose. Like they put a ring, yes, a ring on the bull, the nose of the bull, and they pull the bull.
Yes.
So we live all our life seeking the knowledge, seeking to have an answer to our question. While in fact, if we truly do not know, then there is no question. So in a way, like in the teaching, we invite the mind to not knowing. We invite the mind to let go of the past, meaning not to bring the past in order to understand the present, not to bring the past. Because the past is imagination. We've never experienced the past. We only experience a current thought, a current perception, a current mentation.
Yeah.
What you are seeking, you already know, you already are. But when you contemplate thought, which is a rehashed mass hysteria, you're hoping and praying and trying and practicing this and practicing that and seeing the psychiatrist and trying this method and that method and holding on to this concept, and now it's changed a little bit. There's a new theory, a new belief, a new philosophy. You're always moving. You're moving because in the movement, this for the mind, the separate self maintains itself. It says, okay, hurry, hurry, you're running out of time. But the teaching is that you are the eternal Satchitananda, you are the eternal beingness, awareness, presence, knowingness, causeless happiness. You are the formless self. You are the one reality, the reality of the self. There is no other reality. How could there be another reality? Then there would be two realities. Reality is absolute. And we know for a fact that our experience is real, not what appears, but the I, the consciousness, awareness is real. Not the concept of awareness, not the images that I have about consciousness, not what I read about consciousness, but the reality that perceives right now, this perception. It's undeniable, right?
Yes. Yes, you know, I was telling Esther the other day, a vasana started to arise, just the separation and angst, and your voice popped into my head saying, you know, does consciousness need or lack anything? And it was like a bubble popped. And
Yes.
well, how could it? How could it need or lack?
How could it?
Yes.
How could it? I mean, obviously, because we are serious, we are seeking whatever, whichever way you want to call it. We're awakening. We're seeking to understand our true nature. We're seeking the self. Whatever. It doesn't matter how you word it. But whatever we are looking for, we're not looking for somebody's story. We're not looking for somebody selling something in the market, and then we turn the other street, we find somebody selling something else in the market. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for reality. We're looking for truth.
Yes.
But isn't consciousness the reality and the truth? Isn't consciousness real?
Yeah.
Isn't it what I am? Am I not consciousness?
Yes.
Period.
Period. Yes.
Not consciousness born in 19. It's just consciousness, period. Not consciousness with a story, with a history, with, wait a minute, let me try to remember. Oh, yes, I remember my grandfather. No, consciousness, period.
Yes.
There isn't consciousness and the house, consciousness and the car, consciousness and my money, consciousness and my future endeavor. Just consciousness, pure reality. And then we say, oh, well, okay, I got that, but how would I live it? Would I live it? What do you mean? Who would live it? What? Excuse me. Who? Oh, I didn't. There was somebody else. Is there another? Am I hearing voices?
Well, apparently I have been.
Yes, isn't it funny? It's really funny.
Yes, it is. Once it starts to
To gel.
thin out, yes. It's
Yes.
like, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
We say, well, I got it, but let me think about it. Think about it. Who's thinking about it? Let me take some notes about it. Who's taking the notes? You are the self. Is there any other reality? No, I got it, but don't but it.
Yeah. Yeah, that empty hand image, it just is so becoming so vivid. Just empty hand.
So it's empty hand, and we say full heart, meaning
Oh, yeah.
wholeness. The wholeness is empty-handed. The infinite beingness. Empty-handed, infinite beingness. Your absence is the infinite presence. So absence is infinite presence.
Thank you, Magdi. My mind is blank.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Don't go and plug it in to recharge it, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
But it's okay if it recharges. Don't worry. It's just a
Yeah,
ghost. It's just
exactly.
dreams.
Yeah.
You see, what's so beautiful is the self is complete intimacy. Like you could never get closer to God. I mean,
Yeah.
how could you? It's
Yes.
so.
My goodness. It's like, wow, just that
Yes.
whole belief that God could be something outside. It just,
Yes.
oh,
Yes. And that's
okay.
grace. Grace is eternally available to us. Yes.
Yeah.
So we turn our attention to the self, the contemplation. We're very clear about what we love. We're very clear about what we're looking at. We're very clear about what really matters. There's no problem with the world, with enjoying, traveling, eating, getting together with friends and all of that. Out of your freedom. Never compromise your freedom. Yes?
Yes.
So you want to go have a pizza, you go down to the pizza store for a pizza, the pizza store is closed, you end up eating some salad. Okay, you never compromise your freedom in the world. The world is your celebration, and you celebrate everything in whichever way it appears. Wow, look at the storm. Oh, look at the sunshine. Ah, look at the squirrels. Oh, oops, they're eating our plants. Oh, well, let me go chase them. Okay, Zoe, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Magdi.
Yes, hola, Maru.
Hola, how are you?
Very good. Nice to see you, Maru.
Yes, nice to see you too.
Yes.
I think I have one of those bots that you just mentioned.
Okay.
Because I keep like feeling that I have to work with this stuck emotions that are in my body, that are like, have been there for decades, and they result in like body issues.
Yes.
So it's like, when you say that don't bite it or something like that, it's like I do like have the feeling that I have to work with that, even when the I thought that produced it doesn't seem to be there anymore, but it's in my body.
Yes.
So
Yes.
can you talk about it?
Yes. 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 Mel. Yes. Even when we get some clarity about the I thought, and the I thought thins out in our life, as you're saying, the Maru is still, there is resident. The I thought is also in the body as a me feelings that are embedded in the body, and they do arise. They do arise. Sometimes they could arise in the middle of your sleep at night. They may arise during the day for no reason, or they may get triggered by some thought that arises, or a certain situation may arise, and then you will find. But and in a way, yes, you are right. We do work with that, although in an absolute sense, we are the self, and we are this transparency. This is not meant at all to overlook the fact of the vasanas and experiences and sensations and feelings and emotions arising in the body. It's really important to be very sincere and honest, and not to trick oneself, with spiritual ideas. To have your feet on the ground and to really be face what's arising. Now, in terms of the bodily sensations and the emotions and feelings that arise in the body, and the contractions that arise in the body, Maru, it's important, at least I would invite you, not to have any story about them. Meaning, can you meet them? Can you meet the let me call it the bodily sensation or bodily feeling? Can you meet it freshly? It's really important that you meet it freshly, so you don't bring into the situation all the energy that's been wound and tightened, the past energies that have been the historical energy to the current experience that you are having. So first of all, contemplate being freshly with this experience, and not, oh, here it comes again, or what's happening, to me, I thought that last week I was better, etc. No, just freshly. Also, can you meet it with like a child, a little child meets a stranger? They just look at them, with the open eye, like curiosity, and the mom says, hey, don't bother those people, they don't know you. But the child doesn't have those doesn't have yet those distinctions. Looks at everything with the open eyes. So you're looking with open eyes, not with, oh my God, what is this person going to do to me? Do they like me? Don't they like me? You, as best as possible. I mean, it's not about this is the way to be, Maru. These are like suggestions of the general direction of approaching an emotion or a vasana. As best you can. Also, it's really helpful when you can, again, as best you can, relax. That's different from ignoring or suppressing or bypassing. No, it's whatever is happening, there is a possibility. It's really amazing that it is, even when there is a strong emotion, there is a space within us that's available for relaxation. It's there. It's there. Just sort of invite this space that is a relaxed space that is completely okay with what is arising. It knows within itself, it knows that this arising is not going to harm it. It knows that within itself. I'm not talking about Maru. I'm talking about that space within yourself that is much larger than Maru, that knows within itself that whatever is arising cannot harm it. Maru, on the other hand, is resisting, is thinking, oh my God, it's a different mindset. Maru mindset, it has the whole history in it. So invite whatever is arising, invite the space that is there within you, and you are within this space, to be available. Also, Maru, notice as much as possible that these sensations, these emotions, they become more dense when you are thinking about them, or when you are trying to fix them, or when you are trying to get rid of them. So you notice that they become more stubborn. They make more roots, deeper roots. When they feel a resistance, they make deeper roots. And when they feel that you're trying to think your way away from them, they will make their roots in your thinking. They will go in your thinking, and they will continue to make their roots in your thinking. So when you understand that, it's an important understanding, because you don't want to make things worse. You know, you say, okay, maybe I could try something else besides thinking about them, or besides trying to get rid of them. Maybe I could just experience. I know it doesn't seem like that, but I could say, maybe I can experience their emptiness. I don't know what it means, but say, well, I don't know. I heard, Magdi speak in Satsang, experience their emptiness. Let me try to experience their emptiness. Try to experience that there are very scary structures made out of clouds, with color, with sound. A very good artist made them to be real, very real looking. You see, it's not just, but still they are empty. They're empty. Like the paper dragon, in the Chinese tradition, in some of their holiday celebrations, they make dragons out of paper. They look very, very scary. And they're big, and they have big faces and eyes like that, and big noses and everything. But they are paper dragons, you see. And because we are like children inside, we we get really scared, you know. It's like, oh my God, you know, why are you doing this to me? We get really scared because we are like children inside. We are very innocent in our true nature. We're very innocent, you know. That's how when we are kids. Remember, I used to play with my brothers, and they would hide behind and I would be walking. They go boo like that, and they were very, very scary because yet it was just my brother. You see, so there is that quality in us that goes along with the game. We are part of the game, so we do get pretty scared by the paper tigers and by the empty emotions. So, and also the body, your body, you know, the image of your body is different from your actual body. Your actual body is infinite. It's not a dense body, but the image of your body is like a material image. And we feel in our feeling state, we feel like a material form. But this material form that we feel arises in our true body, which is infinite consciousness. So you don't have just your body. There is also infinite consciousness, your true body, your cosmic body. So you are not just Marudo body, but also the vastness of the universal vast body, the cosmic body. And finally, I would like to share with you, Mahmoud, that every person's vasanas are, in a way, their gate, you know, their doorway to God. They're not a metal gate, you know. They're not a jail door. They're your pathway to the freedom, your pathway to realizing that you are that is completely free. You are the freedom of the self, the freedom of being. So don't look at these vasanas as your punishment or some bad things that are happening. No, quite the opposite.
Yeah. Yes, very useful what you just said.
Yes.
And I still have something else that I would like you to talk about. It is I started to really see it as a gate in the last weeks, and even I started like to be sort of grateful that my body was like showing all this stuff in there, and it could be like seen and sort of released into the space.
Yes.
So sometimes I get to, for instance, I feel anger. I start like feeling the sensation in some part of my body. And so sometimes anger comes from that sensation. So I know that there is anger in there and it's just anger.
Yes.
But sometimes what I feel, for instance, is like the little girl wanting to be loved.
Yes.
So in this other case, there is a story.
Yes.
Because it's like the little girl and the sensation, oh, I want to be loved.
Yes.
So
yes.
in this case, in this second case, what do I do when it comes?
Yes, about the little girl that wants to be loved.
Yeah.
Well, you know, love her. You know, love is beautiful. And you can love the little girl, and you can love all the little girls, not just the little girl that's appearing, you know, to you, but you can love the little girl that's appearing to you, as also use that love to as a symbol in the same way to love all the girls, all the little girls, and also all the little boys and the little animals. But you can absolutely love her, absolutely, completely love her, completely love her. Loving does not mean feeling sorry for. Okay, it's not, you know, regretting and rehashing to her, poor her. No, just loving is just beautiful. You just love her. Anyway you want to love her, you can hug her, you can sing to her, you can just kiss her. Everything that you feel you want to express your love, do it.
So if I feel, if I have that feeling, there is a story, but I can like let the story go. It's
Right.
like if I just love that little girl and whoever,
Yes.
is like not going with the story, even when it
Right.
showed there. So it's, I don't take it anymore.
Love is not a story. Yeah? Love is real. Yeah, love is real, and you can love.
But I mean the need for love is a story.
the need for love, you said, right? The need for love
Comes from this.
Well, yes and no, Maru, because there is so much ignorance in the world, and although our true nature is love, we don't need love. The fact is, because of ignorance, there is so much withdrawal of love. We withdraw, we hold back the love, we resist, we fight, we argue. And so we feel it. I mean, yes, we are the love. Absolutely, there is no need for love. But at the same time, in the waking dream, you see how much love is misunderstood. It is personalized. You know, I love you if you meet my conditions. You know, I love you if you're a good girl. I love you if you are good to me, etc. So, but that's conditions. That's not really love. You know, really love. So I wouldn't hold on to the idea that we don't need love. We all need love. We all love love, and we need it until we realize that in fact we are the love. But in fact, in our waking dream, we still are in the personal self, and we still are withdrawn the love, and we are withdrawing the love. Not only the love is withdrawn from us, but also without paying attention, we are also withdrawing the love. We're placing conditions on our partners, on our friends, on ourselves, etc. So we have to be a little tender about that and be a little flexible around that, and you know, don't hold on that we don't need the love. We all love the love, and we all need it until we don't. Now, in terms of the little girl, it's really important that you understand that in our psyche, in our personal self, there are many veils, and there are a lot of images with sensations and feelings that are within these images, and they are there. You know, they're not always arising, but sometimes they arise suddenly, and you are surprised. You're surprised. Oh my God! Like sometimes people start sobbing. They're sobbing because something arose. You know, that was there, and something triggered it, and suddenly all these emotions arose in like a balloon, pop the balloon, because something triggered that. So there are all these veils and layers, and I think it's good to have a little tenderness around all of that, and not to define ourselves, as via the veils, but to recognize that they are there, and they can arise. Maybe some little things. Sometimes they arise big things, and then like, oh my God. But what we are, this is what we come to understand, that what we are is not that. We are consciousness, but that is the veils are there on their way to dissolve, or some of them they just stay. Some veils remain in the body mind, but they're not important. They arise when they arise, and maybe they don't arise at all. But they're not the crucial path for our awakening. The crucial path for our awakening is the contemplation of what am I truly? What am I? What is my reality? What is the reality of consciousness? I am consciousness. What is this consciousness? It is the reality that perceives right now. And at the same time, a relaxation and a surrender of the entire, to whatever arises, of the entire body mind to whatever arises, without judgment. Because judgment and surrender, they're opposite. You see, it's not a judgment, and it's not a thinking. It's surrendering is just a complete yesness, complete transparency to whatever is arising, and just a silent gratitude to whatever is arising. I don't know it. I don't need to know it, but here I am. I'm in complete presence, and it's okay. It's okay. I can feel those feelings. If they're arising, I can feel them. I don't need to think about them or to run away from them, or I can feel them. And I can feel them as the self, as remaining as the self, remaining, because my direction is towards God. You see, not my direction is towards having a better life or a better person or a better experience. It's a little different. My direction is towards God. So if I walk and there are thorns, bushes and thorns, okay, I'm going to feel the pricking of the thorns. You see, it can happen sometimes. You see.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, Mau. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Any questions?
Magdi,
Yes. Hello, Esther.
would you speak to or talk about the grace of having night dreams? I've been dreaming a lot, and I've been catching on to how it seems like the self is using those dreams to show me the clarity around them. It'll bring up a familiar vasana, and if the dream is strong enough that it wakes me up or that I remember it, then it seems like the opportunity is there to be with it, be with the vasana and inquire, it's just been, I've just been realizing the grace really of those opportunities.
Yes. So if vasana arises in our waking dream and in our night dream, when there is the I thought, so I just muted you for a minute because of the echo. So if vasana arises on behalf of the separate self, and in the waking dream, when we are in contemplation, we can notice that this contraction, this vasana, this residue, or the me residue, is arising, pointing to a remaining attachment, a remaining identification. And we are grateful that this is being revealed because it's an opportunity for us to thin or to release our attachment or our identification. Sometimes it may take many more iterations in order for that particular vasana to lose its hold. So we recognize when we are a mature truth lover, we recognize these arising, the vasanas, the contractions, what seems to be difficulties that arise in life, certain instances that trigger the separate self. We recognize them as being pointers, maybe laser-like pointers to very specific identifications that we still have. Now, usually in the night dream, although that process is going on, we're sort of too foggy to perceive it, to notice it, and to speak about it. But you are speaking about it now in your question. You are speaking about vasanas, noticing vasanas in your night dream, meaning noticing the me feeling being triggered in your night dream. And it is, from what I heard you speak about it, it is inviting you in your night dream to notice the vasana and to, well, maybe I may be putting words in your mouth, but to also notice the particular attachment or the particular identification, that particular aspect of the me that still is behind the arising of this particular vasana. And it is grace, it is via grace that you can perceive, or that you do perceive, a vasana as a gift from God, a pointer from God to free you from that particular vasana. Because in ignorance, when a vasana arises, we just ride it like crazy. We get, somebody triggers us, and then we face this trigger with our resistance, with our argumentation, with our judgment, with our blaming. And there is very little grace in that. So I would say that it is, what you are sharing is not very common. That given that you are contemplating vasanas in your night dream, and even waking up, as you said, on some occasions, and contemplating that vasana. The night dream is like the waking dream, is completely empty, and its purpose is simply for you to awaken. There are many metaphors from the night dream that are used in the waking dream to comprehend the self, to come to understand consciousness. But if in your night dream you are having opportunities to contemplate your vasanas, that's very good. You are not wasting your sleep.
You know, it became obvious when I started to realize what was happening, how the grace was using, maybe because I'm retired and I'm not in the marketplace anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's finding ways to get me clear. And one time, one dream, I was transported to when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that I had residues of guilt around the death of one of my sister's children.
Mm-hmm.
Just why would I ever dream that? You know,
Yes.
like it was so clear that
Mm-hmm.
it was being that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was the head of purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, if your night dream serves you to notice the personal self-tendency, whichever form it's taking in that particular dream, then it's serving a really high purpose. If it's just serving to just stir the pot of feelings and emotions without pointing to the particular personal self-tendency, then I would say is not of much use. And it is in noticing these personal self-tendencies and bringing the light of consciousness onto these tendencies, meaning bringing the understanding that what I am truly is not this imagined person. And there are no imagined others. Those imagined others are imagined by that imagined person. That none of that is really what is. So when you bring the light of wisdom to this arising, this vasana, then the personal self thins out. That particular aspect of it dissolves, and it's all interconnected. Sometimes just one node, it's like those games that you, at some point you release one stick and the whole thing falls off. You're releasing one. It's just that one particular vasana that releases a certain structure of vasanas. So they're not just isolated. And the thinning out of the personal self tendencies in your waking dream will also spread into your night dream. You will find there'll be less and less of the personal self in your night dream. There'll be just images and forms. Now, usually our contemplation during the waking state sort of sometimes is carried over into the night dream, but then it sort of dissolves into the dream, and then the dream world sort of takes over. And when your contemplation when there is contemplation in the waking state, and it also goes into the dream state, it's a very good thing. You're capitalizing on your time, you're capitalizing on your contemplation, but it's all in Grace's hands. It's really, there is no personal door in all of this. Anyways, it's a good thing, Esther. I'm glad to hear this.
Thanks, Magdi.
But for everybody who's listening to this, there is no particular way in which the contemplation of the self unfolds. It's completely, let's say, different for every one of us. It's completely original, because God doesn't like to repeat herself. She likes to stay very original and fresh. Any questions? Okay, well, thank you all for your lovely company. Nice to see you all. Very lovely to be with you. And we'll see you soon, yeah?
Okay, bye.